Members of BRD Nation, we are blessed today to have Joseph Brown. Or Joe Brown? Joe.
Yeah.
Sorry, Joe Brown. We're lucky to have him. Joe was the highest producing rookie this past year. Serviced 350K.
340. Just under 340.
Just under 350 in service revenue. Joe is an extremely hard worker. He's also just a great all-around guy, and we're excited to learn from him. So,
dude, I'm excited.
Thanks for being on, dude.
For sure, man.
So, Joe, walk me through really quick, just kind of like, well, one, before we get into sales stuff, where are you from?
For sure.
All that good stuff.
Yeah, dude. So I grew up in Seattle, Washington, a small town just north of Seattle. It's called Arlington, Washington.
Cool.
I lived there the first 11 years of my life. And then, I grew up with 3 older sisters. So I was a little bit traumatized as a kid, right?
Dude, I got a bunch of sisters too, dude.
Yeah.
I feel like it makes you aware of like other people's emotions really.
Yeah. Dude, everybody thought I was going to be gay.
Stop.
Right? But yeah, dude, that was a fun time. And then, my mom ended up getting a divorce when I was like 8 years old. And so we lived at my grandparents'. They have a house in Seattle as well. And I lived with them for about 3 years. And then my mom got remarried to a guy that she met in high school. And so we actually moved out to Fort Collins.
And wait, was it like your high school sweetheart?
They did. I think they dated in high school. Yeah, I think so. I believe so. But and then they connected. And then we moved out to Fort Collins. It was within a blink. So it was kind of it was tough leaving home.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, we moved out to Fort Collins. And I lived there. So I moved out in like 4th grade, 5th grade, something like that. I stayed there until freshman year of high school, and then I lived with my oldest sister, in Arizona and Mississippi for about a year. So I spent freshman year out there.
Dude, so you've been all over the map a little bit too.
Just getting started, man.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, dude. And so then I moved back to Fort Collins, finished out high school in Fort Collins, and then my mom got another separation. And so she actually moved back to Seattle, and then I stayed in Fort Collins. I got a apartment there, and this is a bit of a crazy story, but I got an apartment. I was planning on just doing community college in Fort Collins, and I wasn't even in my apartment for, it was like probably 1 or 2 weeks, and then it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I like woke up out of my bed, like just straight up, and I don't even know how to explain it. It was like the craziest, most powerful feeling just to move to Utah. It was like, that was it.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, there was no plans of moving to Utah before that. So I just felt like I needed to get out of there, and I left within like 2 weeks of after that happened.
So when you say like you woke up, it's just like you just woke up and you're like, that's what I gotta do. That's interesting.
Because I was going to move to Seattle with my mom, but then that changed. I decided to stay in Fort Collins, and then that happened. And yeah, dude, it was definitely tough moving out of Fort Collins again. Like I lived there for, in total, probably about 8 years. And then, yeah, dude, moved out to Utah.
So for a lot of people, like, I mean, like getting up and leaving anything or moving or anything, it's tough because you have to relocate, go to a new place. And I feel like for me, one of the first times I ever really moved was when I went and did summer sales.
Yeah.
And it's tough because you're in a new environment, you're getting ready. But it sounds like you were already kind of accustomed to that in a way. Like you're like, hey, like I can go make my territory in a new place.
Yeah, dude. I mean, yeah, like you said, it's never easy packing up and leaving. Like, I left my girlfriend at the time, which was tough. I left a bunch of friends. I left my mom, like whatever. But like I knew that was right, and so it was honestly a pretty easy decision, and the best decision I've made. So
cool.
Yeah, dude.
Okay, so now walk us forward. Actually, I want to ask you this: before sales, before like you got into this whole program, did you ever have an entrepreneur stint? Like, did you ever sell something, or like, did you ever have like a lemonade stand growing up? Anything like that?
Dude, I don't think so. Honestly, I don't think so. I always had a vision that I wanted to be successful. Like I wanted to make money, just like anybody else, right?
Yeah.
But like I just felt like something was gonna happen, and I was gonna get on my path and be successful. But I didn't know that path. And so, yeah, dude, I was working at Discount Tire. I think you know the story.
Yeah, I know like the overall story, but I
Yeah.
want you to walk us through it, like,
Okay.
well, like how it all went down.
So yeah, working at Discount Tire, picking up a bunch of shifts, and this kid walks in just every day, right? I'm like, hey, how's it going, dude? And he's like, dude, I think I have a nail in my tire. And I was like, sweet. Walked out to his car. Turns out he had a nail in every single one of his tires. But it's like this kid, and he looks like he's like 19, 20, maybe 21, and he has a Raptor, right? A Ford Raptor. And I'm like, dang, is this your dad's truck? He like laughed, and he's like, no, this is my truck. I bought it. And I was like, how did you get the money to buy one of these, right?
Yeah.
And so he walks me through this. Gage Eward, obviously, I think
Shout
everyone
out to
knows that.
Gage.
Shout out to Gage. Love you, man. And so he introduced me to what he was doing. He's like, I got a marketing company. We sell pest control. And I'm like, just moved to Utah. I'm like, selling pest control? Like, what is that? I didn't even know door-to-door was a thing. But obviously Utah is like the capital of door-to-door guys. But he explains it to me. We go to lunch, and right out, like, I was a lay down. I signed that contract immediately. I was like, get me on a path where I can make money. Like, obviously Discount Tire isn't doing it for me. So he explained to me like the money that you can make. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this 100%. And within a week, I texted him at like 4 a.m, and I was like, dude, I'm going to be the best employee you've ever hired. I'm going to make you the most money that out of any employee you've ever had. And I have that on my vision board. I use it to hype me up a little bit. But I told him that. We moved forward. And yeah, dude.
How long was that before I met you? So like that story, because I met you last year at like the training. And,
Yep.
and while you're thinking of that, I actually want to read the text message that you sent me, my very first text that I ever got.
Yeah, I think it was a couple months, because I didn't start training with you guys until I was training with Gage for a couple weeks, maybe a month or two. Yeah.
So I want to make sure everyone can see this. We'll link it into the chat after. But the first message I ever got from Joe was he said he just texted me and he said, "This is the best selling rookie, Joe." And this is before the summer, before anything. But I feel like one of the things that you're really gifted at is kind of like that vision board manifesting, like being like, I'm going to do this.
Yeah,
And
dude.
I feel like people that are willing to like throw their hat into the ring and be like, hey, like I am just gonna follow through. They always succeed. But like, is that something you learned? Is that something that like was just always naturally you've done that? Where did that come from?
Dude, I don't know, man. Like I said, I always thought that I was gonna be doing something, right? Like my goal was to get a bachelor's degree and be a pilot in the Air Force. That was my goal coming up to this. And but school has never been for me. I barely made it through high school, like barely. I just never went to class.
Yeah.
And like I tried Pathways for like 2 weeks, and I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. And so like I had to figure out something else. And so I don't know, like when that opportunity arose, like I was just like, I'm gonna make the most of it. Like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it 100%. And so I put my all into it. And that's like with anything, like it is so easy to be successful in 2024. Like if you have all the resources that you need, like if you just get up and do it, like nobody's stopping you. You have all the resources at your hand and at your fingertips. Like we all have phones, right? And so like if you just put your 100% all into something, like you're gonna do good.
I love that. Well, and I love too that looking at like a lot of times when people view obstacles, they look at all the things that they don't have.
Mm-hmm.
But like more often than not, there's so many tools at our disposal
Mm-hmm.
that just tell you can do whatever you got to go
And
do.
people just make excuses. Like when I was getting into this, everybody was hating, like pyramid scheme, like you're gonna get scammed, like everything you can think of, right? And I'm like, dude, like give it a shot. Like the worst that comes out of this is you get sales experience and you can use that the rest of your life.
Mhm.
So like, I don't know. That's, I guess, what I took from that.
That's cool. So walk me through on like learning like sales strategy and stuff like that. What were some things that you learned like pretty early on that you're like kind of an aha moment, or like this pushed my sales from like being at one level and rising to the next? Was there like a certain close? Was there a certain thing that someone said?
Like before I got in the doors or after?
Yeah, actually, we'll start like this. So you came to several like months of training before you went out into the summer, which I think was huge for your success. But was there something like in those months leading up to the summer maybe that you like caught? You're like, this was really helpful. This helped shift my mind. I think this was a contributor to like how I did end up selling the most revenue of all the rookies. I
think, dude, if you're getting into door to door, the biggest thing that I'd recommend is whatever the skeleton is for the blueprint of the pitch, get that completely down. Practice in the mirror. I would call my mom like every other day and pitch her. I'd call my best friend, I'd pitch him. I think it's all like up to you, I guess. Like doing the work to, I guess, I don't know, like actively training, not just watching videos, but just like actively practicing. I think that was the thing that helped me the most before the summer. And then once I got into the summer, just like being confident in the work that I put in, I guess. Yeah. I don't know if that answers your question.
100%. Well, and one thing that I love about engaged learning, like being like you can go to the training or whatever, or like you can like be working on your pitch and just like be giving the time, but actually like working through it where you're practicing with a buddy or with a family member is so big. A lot of times I'll have people like, they'll be like writing out their pitch, but just like orating it to somebody else is going to fix out a lot of kinks.
Yeah.
And so I think if someone's watching this and it's their first year, or if it's their second or third, you actually saying it aloud to somebody else is going to help them be able to find what's wrong with your pitch. And the only thing that I think is better than that is actually going out and knocking yourself.
100%, dude. 100%. Dude, the biggest thing, oh yeah, dude, this will answer your question better. Well, I had to convince Gage to let me knock before the summer for like 2 months. You did not want me to knock. I tried to convince him to let me go out in the blitz, and he was like, nope. And so I finally convinced him to let me go out and knock in Utah for like a week, a little less than a week before I went out. And that, like, because I felt like just training before you knock, there's like a limit to how much you can grow. Like you can do all the trainings and you should hit that limit before you knock.
Yeah.
But if you hit that limit before you knock, and then once you get on the doors, it just exponentially grows every skill that you have. But on the other hand, like if you go out and you have no training, like, dude, my buddy Bo, I love you.
Shout out to Bo.
Dude, I recruited him midsummer. He was reading the pitch on the plane flight out here, and he had zero training. He got thrown into it, and he did well. But it would have been a lot easier if he had training before.
Yes.
Like he's a hard worker, and that made up for it. But there's a lot of things that were a lot harder because he didn't have the proper training coming into it.
100%. I don't think people understand how much like a head start doesn't just affect your May sales. It affects your June, July, August. It carries on just because when you feel as if though you're ahead, that momentum like adds energy to every other month that you're doing.
Dude, 100%.
So I think one thing that when do you plan on going out next year? Are you going to be like an early
April?
Yeah, smart.
April, yeah.
I think April 1st is like, if you want to be one of the higher performers, that's the start date for a lot of people. April Fool's Day, baby. Got to make it happen, dude.
Yeah, dude. I was talking to Oakland, and I was trying to go out sooner than that. And he's like, dude, don't. Just go out April, start strong.
I think if you can just go head down in April and make it happen. We're gonna have a couple blitz that maybe we'll all pop out to. I actually just got back from one not too long ago. So
dude, I'm down to go to some preseason.
Yeah.
I'm done with postseason, dude.
Yeah.
I knocked way too long.
But let's talk about postseason a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I think one of the cool things that like you were able to do this summer is obviously like when everyone else is gassed, everyone else is tired, then like like I'm ready to go home for the summer. You're like, no, like I set out to do something and I'm gonna see it through.
Yeah.
Talk to me on like what went into that decision. Like what was like, hey, this is the reason I want to go out and finish, and what would you recommend to someone that maybe is in the similar boat at like towards the end of the summer, or they're like, hey, I still feel like I've got a little more left in the tank. What should someone do to navigate postseason selling?
Well, okay, you kind of had two questions wrapped in one. What was the first question?
So the first one is like, what did you do? Like, what kept you out there to be like, hey, like I want to go hit my goal?
Yeah.
And then what would you recommend to someone that's going to go out and do that?
Well, honestly, there wasn't. What was I going to come back to do? Like, go back and pick up shifts at Discount Tire? Like, I just moved out here. I didn't know anybody. There was no reason in my head for me to go home early because,
Right.
like, if I have this opportunity to make more money, like, why wouldn't I just stay out here? And so that was kind of like how I felt. And I had a big goal at the start of the year. I wanted to win a Golden Door my first year. And so that was obviously that didn't happen, but that goal definitely kept me going through postseason. Like that kept my motivation high. And so to answer that first question, and then your second question was
What's some like recommendations for postseason knocking that you would like recommend if
Okay.
someone is going to go do that and do that?
I think if I was going to do it over again, I would. It was really easy to get lackadaisical. It was like really easy to slack off because there was nobody else there.
Yeah.
And so sticking to your routine, I felt like by the end of this summer I didn't really have much of a routine, and so that hurt me a little bit. And so sticking to your routine, getting on the doors early, getting off later, because like at the end of the day, you're out there for a reason. Like you're not out there to make friends. You're not out there for any other reason but to make money, right? And become the best version of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So why not give it your all, I guess. But I guess I would just recommend building a solid routine, sticking to it, and everybody has the things that they know they're supposed to do. Like, there's definitely times where I block those out of my mind, but in the back of your mind, you still know what you need to do.
Yeah, deep down in your heart, you feel it.
Yeah, and so it's really simple. Like, I would overcomplicate it and be like, why am I in a slump? Or I would overthink that process. But whenever I would just take a step back and I'd just be like, dude, I need to do A, B, and C to be successful, it's simple. Like, wake up in the morning, do your morning routine, like write down your goals, listen to a podcast, and then just knock all day. Like throughout the whole summer, whether I like to admit it or not, I knew that was the stuff that I needed to do to become successful.
And part of your success is your morning routine. I actually talked with Gavin Fitzgerald about like your morning routine, like what you would do.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could like walk everyone kind of through that,
Yeah.
and like what were some things that you're like, hey, this is something I'm going to keep,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe some things you're going to add or even take away going into next year.
Was he talking crap?
He and that's kind of what he told me. He's like he uses a lot of like someone else said I couldn't do this, so like I can, and like Zeke apparently like said something.
Oh yeah.
But walk me through your morning routine. Like, what do you
Okay.
watch? What do you get going? Like, what gets you in the right mindset to
Yeah,
sell?
dude, 100%. When I was doing the best, I would wake up and I'd just hop in a shower, and I'd try to get a cold shower going, because like waking up, getting in a cold shower, like it just wakes you up. It gets you like wired, and then I'd try to do like a couple role plays, and then just something to get my mind going before the morning meeting. So whether that was reading the manual, listen to a book, and do a role play, like something to just get my mind on sales. So I'm not just like when I was doing the worst, I would just wake up, like fall out of bed and like rush to the morning meeting, right? And so just something to get my mind on sales. And then take advantage of the morning meetings, because the morning meetings, especially when you're first starting, are super important. So
that's awesome. So competitions last year, we actually had a lot of fun ones that I thought like went out and motivated a lot of people.
Yeah.
You were in the Austin office, and I feel like you guys really came alive. What was it called? This series. Do you remember that one at the very beginning? It was the baseball one.
Was it for the
So where you guys were all on one team. Thorin and everybody in the chat was like going after.
Oh
Nolan.
yeah.
So
yeah.
like I feel like you guys have like a good unity. But talk to me on like, did you like team competitions better, individual competitions? Like what ones actually got you going and why?
I mean, there's differences for both of them, because like I feel like one-on-one, like I'm just gonna crush this guy, right? Like it's just me versus this guy, and so I'm super competitive, so that fires me up. Team-wise, it's probably more fun because I got the guys that got my back and I got their back, and then we're talking crap to the other team, and we're all like going back and forth throughout like the group chats. And so that's a fun atmosphere for sure. But yeah, dude, I'd say both in their own ways. I enjoyed, but I think it fired me up a little bit more for the one-on-ones.
That's cool. So in my door-to-door story, like there's people I look back on and like they forever changed the trajectory of my life, and I learned things from them. And is there someone like that this summer that you maybe met or like went out and you're like, this is something that they taught me, and I think this would be great for anyone to like hear, or like this is a cool attribute, or this is a cool nugget they gave me, maybe on the team, a leader, or just a coworker?
I think the guy who made the biggest difference for me during the summer, I'd say before the summer is definitely Gage, but during the summer I'd say Gabe Benedito.
Shout out Gabe. Yeah.
Shout out Gabe. Dude, it's funny story. Probably like a month in, I was in his car. I didn't even have a goal for the summer. Like I was at like, I sold like 70K my first month, and it was probably a month and a couple weeks into the summer, and I didn't even have a goal. So I was talking to him, and it wasn't anything crazy, but he just instilled the belief in myself that I could like go really high. And so that's when I made the goal for the Golden Door. And like, if I didn't do that, I would not have done the numbers that I did. And so I think instilling the belief in yourself and instilling the confidence in yourself that like you can do way more than you think you can, really pushed me throughout the summer. Like that was probably the biggest game changer for me. And
it's also when someone else reaffirms like your belief in yourself, like
yeah.
Gabe was like, I think you can do it, and it's
yeah.
like, yeah, I can. Like, let's go.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
And those people sometimes don't get sung enough, but like I echo that. Like sometimes like you'll be like dead empty, and someone will just be like, I believe in you, and it's like I can run off that for at least 3 more days. You're like, so.
Yeah, dude. No, 100%, dude. But yeah, I think that definitely made the biggest difference. That carried me through the whole year, honestly, until I got back. Like that carried me through the whole thing. So shout out to Gabe, he's a G. And yeah, dude,
that's cool. So talk to me about like stuff you're consuming. Let's talk about like maybe podcasts, books. Is there a YouTube video that you'd watch?
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything like that you're like, oh, dude, this is great? Like, maybe not even motivation, but like I learned from this like throughout the summer.
Dude, Can't Hurt Me. Can't Hurt Me is like probably one of the best books I've ever read. I didn't read it throughout the summer. No, I did. I did read it throughout the summer, but the first time I read it was before the summer, and that like obviously doesn't have any like sales stuff in it, but like just mindset, because at the end of the day that is the most important part of this job, right? And like I recommend everybody to go read that book if you haven't already, because just if you have that mindset, like no matter what happens, no matter what rain comes my way, no matter like nothing can affect my mindset. Like nothing can throw me off course. And so that was really big for me. I want to read that book again. I've already read it twice. And then
that's the Goggins one, right?
Goggins, yeah. David Goggins, yes sir. And then Relentless by Tim Grover is also really good.
Great book.
I read that like mid to end of the year, And the biggest thing that I took away from that book is stop thinking. And that sounds weird, but by that point in the summer, I already sold 300K. And I talked to Oakland about this as well. Like, stop overthinking the process. Like, I know how to sell.
Yes.
I've already sold. Just do it. Like, you know what you need to do. You don't need to think about what you need to do. You've done this for 2 or 3 months, 4 months, right?
Yeah.
Just don't think about it. Just go out and do it. And one of the things that helps is giving your brain less decisions. And so, like, getting your clothes put in a certain spot every morning. Like, you know exactly what you're going to wear. You know exactly what you're going to eat. You know exactly what you're going to listen to on the way to area. So the only decision you have to focus on is putting your head down and knocking doors. So
No, decision fatigue's a real thing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
When you've gone so many days in a row, we don't realize a lot of times all the weight that you're carrying. But I feel like a lot of times if you can just like you said, simplify that process, it's gonna be way easier for you to succeed.
Yeah.
And I'll see that honestly on all levels of different reps, first year, 5th year, 10th year, whatever. Sometimes we get so close to the process that we like think like, man, maybe I should have coughed and then like took 2 steps and then juked him out. Like, it's like, no, dude,
Yeah,
like
dude.
it's not that deep. Like,
No, it's not. It's really not, dude. Like, the only thing that goes into sales, honestly, like in my opinion, is keeping your head in a good space, like filling your head with positive thoughts, and like just not thinking, just doing it. Just like once you have that path, once you know what you're doing, just putting your head down, grinding, pushing through, and not letting like things that you can't control affect your direction. If that makes sense.
So people always like to talk about like prospects for like next year, who they think is going to rise up in the ranks. Do you have anyone that you're like, hey, I think they'll for sure finish in the top 10 or top 5, and maybe like we aren't thinking about them currently? Is there anyone you're like, I think they're going to surprise a lot of people?
Dude, I think Bo's gonna do good. But I got another recruit, Gitas. Gitas.
Shout out Gitas.
He's my buddy from Colorado. He just signed on. He thinks he's gonna beat me. Worth a shot, right? Dude, I think he's gonna do well. He came to Tony Robbins with us. He came to New York with us.
How was that?
Really good.
That's cool.
Really good. It was powerful for sure. But yeah, he came. He was the only rookie that came there. So, dude, high hopes for that kid.
Let's go. And it's Gitas.
Yeah.
That's cool. So just, I mean, kind of like as we're getting closer to the end, I kind of want to talk about like tactically, like things that we actually do on the doorstep.
Mm-hmm.
How's your positioning when you're with a customer? Is there any certain distance you try to like to be from them? Is there certain moments when you like nudge them, go to the side of them? Is there things that you do, I guess, like from a footwork perspective that you think are crucial for everyone to know?
Gage would always tell us to just arm's length, like from the door. I honestly did not really look too much into like how I was standing. I would stand in a confident stance, but I just turned a little bit. Like, don't square up with anybody. Like, you don't want to get in a fight, right?
Yeah.
People in Texas can be crazy sometimes.
Have standoffs.
Yeah. So just a little bit of an angle. Head nods. I mean, body language is huge. I don't think I really paid too much attention to my stance, just as long as I wasn't like aiming directly at them. But head nods, smiling, big gestures, like gestures that people can understand, not just like, right? So like gestures that mean stuff, right? And eyes. Eyes are a pretty big one. I like keeping eye contact. Like, that's probably one of the biggest things of how to show confidence. Like, if you're looking away, like doing this, right? Like,
Yeah.
You don't look confident. Like, keeping eye contact unless there's like an eye break where I'm like, my trucks are out there, right?
Were you a guy that moved people ever? Like, are you like? I know some people are like, I move in the backyard. Some people are like, I just try to move them on the porch.
Dude, honestly, I rarely did that. Honestly, I want to start incorporating that more. I started to get better at it towards like mid to end summer, but basically I'd say 90% of my sales are just on the door, like not even moving.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to give you a couple scenarios, and I want you to tell me what you would do. So let's say like someone comes on a Ring doorbell camera.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's your point of attack? Are you talking to the doorbell camera? Are you avoiding it? Are you?
So I've actually gotten 1 or 2 sales off of a Ring camera last summer. But I mean, the thing is I'm not going to argue with a camera. Like I'm going to let them know what I'm doing, like super quick, because I feel like that's kind of a waste of time. Like the ones that I did get were just laydowns, like they just wanted it, so it was easy. But I would be like, hey, how's it going? I'm just the route manager here with Bird. Just taking care of a couple of your neighbors. I'm sure you know so-and-so, right? I'm just out here doing a bunch of work for your neighbors for the pest control. I was just wondering if you guys already have a company or not yet. And they would throw me an objection. I might like try to give it like one resolve, but if they're not with it, I'm out.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a couple other funky scenarios. Let's say someone's backing out of their driveway and you're rolling up on them. What's the move? Do you put your foot out to stop the car? Are you like knocking on the window?
Dude, oh man, this is honestly like I hate to admit this, but like when people are leaving or when people are going on walks, I am like super. I wouldn't say I'm scared to approach them, but I just like it's just so uncomfortable. I just don't like it. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna hit that door when I loop back around or something like that.
Dude, I feel like everyone's got a kink in the armor with stuff like that sometimes. For me, my one that I have a tough time with is when there's like a massive dog like on the front porch. I didn't grow up with dogs or anything like that, and like I've wussed out on a couple porches because of the dog. Never the no soliciting sign. I'll blow past that one. Dude, a big basset hound or something like that, it messes with me.
Dude, I can definitely understand that. I think just for me, yeah, if like someone's backing out of the driveway, I'm not gonna go knock on their window, dude. Like, like if they're looking at me, like if I make eye contact with someone like leaving and I like give them a nod and then they like roll down their window, obviously I'm gonna talk to them. Mm-hmm. But if it's not that, I'm just going to the next door. I don't know. That's not good advice because you shouldn't do that. You should talk. Like what I'm going to try to do this year is I am going to try to talk to every single person I see. If someone's sitting on a park bench, I'm going to try to talk to them. If someone's walking their dog, like I rarely did that last year, and I feel like I could have squeezed out a lot more sales from doing that because they're already outside.
Yeah. Their
walls are mostly down. And so like, and what's the worst that happens? They say no.
Yeah.
Right.
The door frames, like honestly, catching people out beyond their home wall, like in the yard, out around the curb or anything like that. There's a huge barrier to be broken when they come out just right out of the door, and so being removed from that's actually a huge leg up to anyone when they're going out. It's funny. One of my favorite things to do is when I see people doing yard work in their backyard.
I was just about to say.
I love to go to the back of the fence and be like, "Hey, I'm here. What's going on?"
Well, I don't know if I got this from you. I got this from somebody, but whenever I'd see someone doing yard work, I'd be like, hey, you want to switch me jobs? It's like super simple, but if 9 times out of 10, like they will just die laughing.
It's phenomenal.
You're like, what are you doing? I don't even know what you're doing. I'm like, dude, I'm just having a great time out here. And then it's just like, yeah, that's probably my favorite thing to do. But I don't know if I got that from you or not.
That's a line I've always used, but I'm not going to coin it. Here's the great thing.
Yeah.
What do they say? What's the old saying? Great artists, good artists paint, but great artists steal. That one I definitely stole too. So
sweet.
We'll credit whoever came before us.
Okay, sweet. Love that.
Cool. And as far as like, there's a story I want clarity on. So when Cameron stole the dog. Can I know that full story, or like what was the reasoning? I never got the story of like why he stole the dog, but like loop everyone else in first, and then
dude, I gotta leave that up to Cam, dude. He tells it in the funniest way I can't replicate. I can sum it up, but there's a video of him just okay. So there's a video of this poor dog just like waltzing over to it. Like it's back legs don't even work. It's like crawling up to Cam.
Oh yeah, dude.
And Cam like double takes And like I said, he'll say it way funnier than I will. But he just like felt bad for it. He like, dude, I gotta save this dog. So it's a video from a Ring camera that the owner took, I think.
Yeah.
It's just him picking up the dog and just walking off the property. But honestly, I would have done the same thing. If I saw that dog in that bad of a situation, well, me and Bo took a dog as well.
No, stop. Hey, if you're listening to this, no one take a dog this summer.
Okay, well, dude, I didn't know what else to do. This was this trailer park, which you shouldn't even be knocking in trailer parks anyways, but I came up to this house. It honestly looked abandoned. Like, I probably shouldn't even gone up to it, but like once I did a double take, I was like, dude, that car hasn't been driven in like 15 years. And no one was home. And there was, dude, this dog probably not even 2 weeks old. Like, barely could walk. I knock on this door. It like walks out from like this couch on like the balcony. And I'm like, dude, this dog is like just came out of its mom. Like week or two old. And I'm like, dude, it's going to get eaten by an owl. It's going to be eaten by a coyote. Like, this was like a super foresty area. Like a bobcat could have eaten this dog. Like, it was a small dog. It was probably like the size of my hand. And there was a next door neighbor that was right next. It was like this mom. And as I was passing, because I left it, I was like, dude, I can't take this dog. I left, and she was like outside, and I was like, I first tried to pitch her, right? I tried to pitch her pest control. And then she wasn't interested, but I was like, dude, there's like this dog that's next door, and it's like baby, like newborn. And she's like, oh my gosh. And so she convinces me to go grab it, and I got her phone number, and she was like, there is a family there, but like they do not take care of their pets. Like, that's like the second time this happened. And so I was like, no, I'm not leaving that dog now. And so I get Bo's with me, and I made him do it. Well, he wanted to. And so he runs up to this porch. They are home. At this point, they are like in the house. And he goes,
I'm excited where this is going to go.
He's in the house. There are people home. The lights are on. He goes up, like sneaks up, grabs the dog, and just runs away.
What? He took a dog? No, dude. I don't know.
Dude, hey, the next door neighbor told us to. Neighbor told us to. On off record, this never happened. Actually, this is just a fake story.
We can't be stealing dogs anymore, boys. Oh my gosh,
dude, I didn't know it was gonna die. It was gonna die. There's no way.
Maybe it's a Robin Hood situation. You know, you gotta take the dog.
Like it was trying to go down the stairs. It literally fell off the stairs. Like it couldn't barely even walk.
Ooh.
And it was just outside. Like, it should not, I don't know. But, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. That's the end of the story, actually.
Well, just kind of wrapping up, one thing I want to talk about, your guys' culture in Austin, I think was really cool.
Yeah.
Actually, when we came through to film, like a lot of guys in the office, the camera guy, Cameron, he was like, he's like, of all your offices, he's like, there's something special about this group of guys. Like,
yeah, dude.
They're really tight-knit. They build each other up.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it's just like, I feel like it's a really like high vibe.
Yeah.
And obviously, if an outsider comes in and just briefly sees that and feels that, kind of talk to me on like what are some things that you think go into having a good office or like a good culture, and like what made that group of guys this last year in Austin so special?
Dude, it definitely starts with Gage. He made the rules and expectations super clear, but it also like I don't know if we just got lucky, but honestly, like we were so tight from like day one. Like, I didn't know, I knew a couple guys that were doing trainings, but most of the guys I didn't know. And like it felt like we were all equally motivated. Like, we all had, like, whether our goals were different or not, like we all had the same path. Like, we all just wanted to grind, put our heads down, and we definitely did that together. And like, I think each person lifted up the other. Like, there was multiple times throughout the summer where like one guy wanted to go home, the other guy didn't, and like we stayed out. And just little things like that, really, like doing hard things and staying out when you didn't want to, like staying out on a Saturday when everybody else was going home, like set an example for the rest of the team. And it wasn't just me, it was everybody. Like everybody took that charge, and it really tied us all together.
Yeah. So. Well, what's funny is like I was kind of talking about this earlier with a friend, but the culture in which you surround yourself with, it really will take you places that you're never expecting.
Dude, 100%.
I think the choices that you make and the people that are next to you, those two things they'll determine where you land. And I think during the summer, if you're in an office where everyone's great, it's awesome because you can fly high. But if you're maybe not as lucky and you're a guy that's in an office where there is some naysayers or some of that weight, the dead weight, figuring out how to surround yourself with the guys that want to do the best and be the best in any kind of office, in low performing and high performing, wherever you're at, that's a huge indicator of how successful you're going to be.
100%. Dude, Gage always says like you become the most like the 5 people you spend the most time with, and obviously that didn't come from Gage, but and that is like the realest thing. Like I think the biggest difference from living in Fort Collins to here for me is the people that I was around. I was making bad decisions, and I'm not going to blame that on the people around me, but like I was hanging out with the wrong group of people, and so like I was definitely not making the right decisions as well. And so when I moved here, like it was a lot easier to be motivated, be disciplined because of the people around me. And so that makes a huge difference. Like if there's people in your life that bring you down, like you can be friends with them, like say what's up, like go to the gym every once in a while, like whatever, like hop on Fortnite every once in a while, right? But like keep the people close to you that push you to like be better. So, and that really helped me throughout the summers.
And I guess just kind of wrapping up, who are some names on the leaderboard this year that kind of motivated you? Like if you saw so-and-so's sale pop up, like, you know, like there was people when I was out selling that like if someone sold, I was happy for them. And there's other people that was like, oh, they got one, I got to get 2. Like,
dude, honestly, everybody. Like if anybody was doing good, I would be like, dude, I got to do better than this guy. Like this guy's not better than me. But like it wasn't like I was attacking that guy, but it's just like you got to believe that you're the best, right?
Yes.
I think the biggest one was definitely Gage. Like the whole like he got mad at me a couple times because I would go over the top. I talked a lot of crap throughout the summer, and my whole goal was to be Gage. Like every single day, I was like, dude, I got to be him today. And then when Stockton was doing good, like he was popping off for a couple weeks, and then like if I could do half as good as Oakland every day, I was in a good spot. He was ripping 10 days, like it felt like twice a week. But yeah, dude, I think keeping that competitive side is super important. But one thing that I found throughout the summer is I let that take over a little bit too much instead of just fighting with myself. Because there was a couple times where I'd get into slumps because I'd be satisfied what I was doing. And that was because I was focusing too much on my competition between like those guys and my competition between like myself.
Yes.
And so I think it's really important to have a blend of both because competition with the guys around me like definitely did push me hard, but you always have to have that competition within yourself. I need to just get better every single day. Like I need to be better than the guy yesterday.
I love that. Well, and I think there's a time for both, kind of how you were saying right there. Like cleansing the inner vessel of just making sure you're giving the best that you can do is huge. And then sometimes it's nice to have a friendly person off like, oh yeah, that will.
Sometimes it wasn't too friendly.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Sometimes you gotta be going for blood. No,
dude, that was me and Gavin. Me and Gavin, yeah, me and Gavin were very hostile to each other a couple points in the summer. But it was good, dude. I love that kid.
Well, but that's just Gavin's personality.
Yeah.
He's a teaser.
Dude, he pissed me off a couple times. I can't lie.
Well,
But-
dude, Joe, this was awesome to hop on the pod.
I appreciate
honestly
it.
learned a lot. It was cool to like just hear your story. So
Thank you.
appreciate all you're doing and also how hard you pushed everybody this summer. So
Appreciate
I
you.
know a lot of people looked up to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really appreciate you inviting me onto this.
Yeah, it's awesome. So
Sweet.
over now.